continue to apply to ICU jobs, and you will get an ICU job eventually. Believe it, trust in yourself, and you'll get in there. There's a lot of you out there that are new nurses that want to work in the ICU, and there's a few things that you need to do if you want to land an ICU job as your very first nursing job, and we're going to break that down in today's video. Stay tuned. What is going on, baby nurses? Welcome back to A Couple Nurses. This is Dero, currently an SRNA, going through the trenches of CRNA school. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about some things that you need to do to land your very first ICU job. I know this was something that was kind of a struggle for me whenever I first got out of school. And my first job wasn't in the ICU. I was actually in a med-surg floor, and I transitioned over. But today's tips I'm going to give you will help whether you're trying to transition into the ICU or whether you're a new grad and you want to work ICU as your very first job. Before we get into today's content, just want to let you guys know my goal with this channel and with these videos is to pretty much brain dump what I learned in the ICU in hopes that I can help you on your nursing journey. So as always, before we get into today's content, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Put Nurses Rock down in the comment box if you find any value into today's video. So today I'm going to break down 4 different pillars of some things you want to really be considering if you want to work in the ICU as your very first job. They're all equally important, so I wouldn't say one is better than the other, so definitely listen until the end. So the very first thing you want to do is really just understand the value of relationships. So the majority of my jobs have come through knowing somebody that knows somebody. So especially for you new nurses, if you have the opportunity to do your capstone or your last rotation in the ICU, definitely do that and cherish those relationships. So whenever you're doing your clinical hours, make that relationship with your preceptor, go and talk to the manager, talk to other people on the unit, and really make it known that you are passionate about ICU nursing and that you possibly could work here if they have an opening for you. Also, if you know any ICU nurses, let them know that you want to work in the ICU. If you have the opportunity to, go shadow one day in the ICU. Maybe you go in for 12 hours or even 6 hours of a day and just see what it is that an ICU nurse does. So that way, whenever you are actually submitting your application and on your CV, you can put that you have some shadow experience in the ICU, or you can talk about your experience whenever you do get into the interview. So that way, this really shows that you're dedicated and committed to working in this specialty. And this is all to say that the nursing community can be very small. Everyone is within a few connections of the next man. So especially the ICU nursing, and once you start thinking about CRNA, SRNA, everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So just always keep that in the back of your mind. Always show up and have a good attitude, and that will take you a long way. So another thing you really want to be considering is to make sure that your motivation is intact. So really understand why you want to work in the ICU. Do you want to work there because you want to take care of sicker patients? Do you want to stretch yourself in your critical thinking? Do you want to prepare for CRNA school? Really have a good solid understanding of why you want to go to work in the ICU. Whenever you get in for your interview, I can guarantee you this is going to be a question that they ask. It's probably going to be the first question they ask is, why do you want to work in the ICU? So make sure that you have a good solid answer for that. Another thing that I'm going to suggest that should go without saying is just make sure that your CV is nice and professional. There's plenty of templates online these days that can help you construct a nice looking CV. Just remember, you are a professional nurse now, so your CV should also reflect that professionalism about yourself. It should be very neat, be easy to read. As a secondary thing to think about, whenever you go into your interview, make sure that you have a copy or two with you. So that way, if it's like a group interview, that way everybody has a copy of your CV that they can be looking at and possibly pull questions for you from. That really just shows, it's just another level of professionalism that not all nurses have, and it can kind of give you a little edge on some other people. Then the very last thing you want to do is just remember to apply to more than one place. Don't apply to one place if you get a denial and just be like, oh, I can't work in the ICU. No, apply to 3, 4, 5 different places. So if you're in a situation similar to me, to where I applied to 2 or 3 places, didn't get anything, and then I was like, I need to work. So I started working in med-surg, and I was still applying to ICU positions because I knew that that's ultimately where I wanted to be. So do not settle for working in a unit that you don't want to work in. That's the quickest way to burnout and depression. So don't settle. Continue to apply to ICU jobs, and you will get an ICU job eventually. Believe it, trust in yourself, and you'll get in there. Apply to more than one place. One no it means nothing. All you need is one yes. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So there's just a few tips if you want to work in the ICU, whether you're transferring or whether you're a new grad, specifically for new grads. But I hope you found some value in today's video. If you have any additional questions, be sure to let us know down in the comment box, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.